It's a bit controversial, I would say, in even the dietetic space is being so very meat forward. But I do
Yeah.
believe that animal protein is a very, very spectacular source of nutrition. When you think about not only just proteins, healthy fats, things like that, but also the micronutrient composition. And so for me, and the way that I coach clients is for most people, increasing protein, seeing their energy actually adjust, seeing satiety improve. And then from there, we can actually start manipulating different variables and factors to actually influence weight loss. I have to say it because we're both dietitians, but I believe that nutrition really is the foundation of health. Like
Me too.
you can't exist without food. And so really being able to take the foods that you're eating, understanding metabolism, understanding how to get the most out of your food so that you can give the most is so, so important. So if you're doing everything right, but your nutrition is off, like you're going to be swimming upstream.
Totally. And when we think about that definition of metabolism being the composition of the chemical processes that give you energy to be alive, think about the food that you're consuming and what's going to happen when it goes down. Which chemical processes are going to be influenced, and really, is it a hard process again? And is it a good kind of hard process like that hormetic? I think of like eating meat as it is an energetically intensive process to break down meat. You have multiple organ involvement versus like something like a blueberry. It's not as much of a big deal, I feel like, versus meat. Like you have protein and fat. So you got to get the liver involved. You got to get the gallbladder involved. You have a whole other slew of things. But what you're getting from that food is the nutrients necessary for all of those systems to run. And for all those systems to run, again, we need nutrients for our metabolism to function properly. So cutting yourself away from nutrients is also going to put a huge damper on that system, as our system will slow down completely to compensate for the fact that it doesn't believe it's getting those nutrients in the future. So, and all of those nutrients are, we could have an entire episode on B6. I mean, each one of those nutrients are responsible for these energy and chemical processes that change throughout our body too. So I certainly believe animal protein is a huge hack for our metabolism because we're getting so much from it. And it also is very energy costly to break it down. But if I think of something like a processed piece of meat, it's energy costly, but not in a way that we love. Because what is going to be happening is that our body, again, is going to be also creating new kind of chemical processes that may eventually lead to some inflammation in the body too. So it's like, is it hard to digest in a good way where your body's working for it? Or is it hard to digest in a way where your body's like, get this out of my body. This doesn't feel right. Thinking about that when it comes to our metabolism too. And I think that's a message I didn't know we were going to kind of take from this, is that doing things that are kind of hard, but feel okay and feel good in the long term are great. And then doing things that are either really, really easy, like eating some highly processed food, or not moving, is probably not supportive for our metabolism. And then overall doing things that feel good and normal and human is going to get us there, I think, which is like a big, weird message I didn't know we were going to land on, but we have landed there.
It's good. One of the shifting points for me when I was doing the standard American diet to going into more of a whole foods-based diet was this concept of eating for performance versus eating for pleasure. Now I've found, because of that, when I'm like, okay, like for me, if I'm eating a steak and some sweet potatoes or whatnot, and like some homemade compound butter, I actually look at that meal and be like, you know what? I can see that I'm providing my body a lot of value by this meal. And so I'm more excited to eat it. And so when I went from a pleasure to more performance-based, I noticed that my taste buds actually changed. And now I find pleasure in the foods that were more performance-based for me before.